The overhead, but no Katana Phantom gets it this time around. And now this is guess for game scenario. This combo itself is not gonna kill, but if you guess wrong here, that's it. You're done and over with, and you guess wrong.
Oh,
Jeez, Bwood.
Aim away from making it into the grand finals on the winner's side.
Bwood's unstoppable right now.
Into the throw you go. Extends it with the Katana lift too. This is off a throw, by the way. 21% overhead now. Wow. It's not looking pretty, Destroyer. It is not looking pretty.
Oh my God! Call the ambulance! Look at this! The overhead! I think that's GG's Caboose. Seen him make a monumental comeback before.
But that's just do it. The low into the brutal.
There you have it. Smart about things.
There's something too, we're seeing not a lot of utilization of that forward four out of the stars, right? So, I'm sure Bwood just feels like a neutral down.
This is checkmate.
This is and that's match.
Good stuff from Bwood.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Poseidcast. With me tonight I have Rez's own Bwood, one of the best players in the world in general, but definitely one of the best general Shao players in the world. Bwood, is there anything that you like to promo or anything you'd like to say before we get started into some questions here?
Just check out my Twitch channel, Bwood TTV, and follow me on Twitter. Follow Rez on Twitter as well, Rez Esports.
I'll make sure to leave all that in the description as well, so it give you easy access. So the first thing I wanted to ask you was, in the most recent ranking that I made, I ranked you 100. How did you feel about it? Did you feel indifferent? Were you upset? Or were you like, hey, I made it? Was it like, yeah?
I thought it was pretty neat that I made it. I wasn't expecting to make it, so I was able to squeeze in there right at the very end. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Because some people are like, ooh, that's cool they made it. And some people are like, what? I'm way better. I feel like everyone, a lot of people think they're a lot better than they are. Not that I say that you wouldn't have a right to be higher, but there's some people that get ranked 50 and they're like, oh, I'm definitely 35 or something like that. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I think according with the the formula that you use, especially valuing the offline placements more, I definitely understood where I was, so I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, people kind of the three people I thought was the hardest to rank were you, No Green, and Tragic, because all your results were really good, but not you weren't winning everything kind of an unjust, but you were doing really well. But it was kind of trying to compare that to offline and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's was cool. So you, what got you into competing in Mortal Kombat in general? I don't recall seeing you much in the MK11 days. I'm not sure if you played that, but what got you into it?
Yeah, that's correct. I did play MK11, but I really only played it casually. I played I've been playing since MKX days, actually, but only with my friends. And back then I was I thought I was really good, but then that's because I was the best amongst my small friend group, and they were just a bunch of casuals and everything. They didn't know frame data or anything beyond combos and just lows and overheads, and that's what I knew. So I thought I was kind of good. And then I started playing online, in MK11, and then I realized that I wasn't as good as I thought I was. But I was still kind of taking the game kind of, not really seriously. But it was actually my friend Titanium Tigers who kind of started to get me on the path to that.
Ooh, Titanium Tigers. Was it someone that knew personally, or is that you met him through MK?
I actually met him through a different game. Actually, my favorite game of all time is called Evolve.
Evolve, yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah, I love that game. That's my favorite game of all time. Yeah, and me and him were both we're big sweats in that game. And
That's awesome.
And one day we were playing, and me and this third friend, we were gonna go play MK, and we were kind of like talking trash, competitively a little bit, and then Tigers chimes in, he's like, "Wait, you guys are gonna play MK? Like, oh, can I play with you?" And he's telling us like he's pretty good. Like, I never heard of him in the MK scene, so I didn't know who he was, like, in that regard. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, you guys aren't gonna get a game." And I thought I was kind of good back then, so I'm like, okay, he's just he's talking trash, and like he like double flawless me when we played. Like I did not get a game, or even I think I got like one round like the whole time.
Yeah.
And
No, I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. Yeah, he started he taught me a little bit about frame data, and just how to play a little bit of neutral, just kind of like just basic fundamentals of the game. And then I started taking that into online, but I still didn't really like compete. And then fast forward to MK1, then I started I was playing, and I kind of started the same like mindset of being like an online warrior, kind of being a bit more knowledgeable. So I never really I think I had a mindset like you needed to be like a certain level to like compete in tournaments. I didn't realize like anyone could just sign up. So, and then it was actually like I remember I was watching a Honeybee video, and he was talking about his competitive experience, and he's like, yeah, I had this really horrible run, like my first tournament I got beat up. I think he said he went like 1-2 or something like that, but like he was like encouraging people like, yeah, just sign up and just give it a shot. Like, you're probably not gonna do the best the first one, but just keep signing up, keep showing up. And so I took that advice and I signed up for Coliseum, and then I had like I went like 2-6, I think. Doing that definitely like inspired me to want to compete more and get better at the game. And then so I just started signing up for everything at that point.
That is really cool, because you do like these days even still sign up for a lot of things. You were literally just playing at a tournament before we started this, and you got third place. Congratulations! That was actually pretty good. I know you probably wanted to win, but the fact that you met Titanium Tigers on another game, because for those of you who don't know, Titanium Tigers is like really good, like top level, or like just below like top level player in like MK11. And in MK1 when he was playing. I know he doesn't really play anymore, but he won the first Shirayu Sunday for MK1, and that was by far our biggest tournament. We had like almost 200 people.
Wow.
Yeah. So it made the fact that like he was like kind of who taught you the game actually kind of makes sense with how good you are right now currently. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good person to introduce you to the game for sure when it comes to that.
Definitely. Every now and then he'll come back and he'll play some games, and he'll still whoop me up even now.
Yeah.
He's a little more competitive.
Yeah, he seems like the type of guy who to kind of just pick up like games really quickly.
Yeah, he's good at everything. Like every game he plays, he's sweating every single one.
He was actually the one that got me playing. So I main Joker in MK11, and I was playing Ace of Names because everyone was playing Ace of Names, and I saw him play. Because he would play everyone, and he was playing Madman, the Kapow, and I was like, wow, that looks really cool. And then I started playing it, and then I kind of became known as like the Kapow Joker because he would play everyone, and everyone else was playing Ace of Names.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, he was definitely like known for like being like unique and kind of adding his own flavor to everything.
Super cool, man. Super cool. So you stream and stuff like that. What kind of got you into that aspect of the gaming sphere? And yeah, I guess you can just go with that.
I'd say obviously I played the game a lot and I was competing, and over the course of that, like during the first few months of the game, I had a lot of my friends tell me like, oh, you should compete, or sorry, not compete, you should stream. And I don't know, I'm a bit more of a like an introverted type person. So it wasn't the first thing that crossed my mind. And I guess it was a similar mindset to competing as well, as like I kind of thought like who's gonna want to watch me, because like I at that point I was doing tournaments, but I was like I wasn't getting like top 8 or anything. I was getting I'd go like 1 and 2, 2 and 2, something like that. So I'm like, who wants to watch me? And then at some point, my friend DB, he just called me out the right day. He's like, man, you really got to stream. I think it'll be really good. I think you got the personality for it, and I think you can be big. And so I started streaming for my PlayStation, and then I've streamed almost every day since then. That was like last December.
Really? Every day?
Almost. I did stream every day for like 6 months, and then at this around the 6-month mark, things just got like a little bit more in the way sometimes, just here and there. But I still stream like probably like 5-6 days a week now. I take a day off every now and then since then, but
that is crazy. That's a crazy work ethic right there. Very, very impressive and admirable, I would say, for sure.
yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I used to be a fighter, so work ethic, is nothing new to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's good that you learned that lesson. You're able to apply it to other things. So, do you ever feel like you experience like burnout, or that you don't want to stream but you do it anyway, or is it just like I just feel like streaming every day?
Occasionally, and usually I'd say it's not as much burnout. It just sometimes, like I said, I'm an introvert, so sometimes I just don't necessarily have like the social battery to like tell myself to stream. But even on those days where I don't, and I end up streaming and I end up talking to my chat and whatnot, I still do enjoy streaming at that point. So I never like regret streaming on any day. It just sometimes getting the motivation to do it and like start up in the first place.
Yeah, that could be half the battle. I say half the battle is showing up, honestly, in anything.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, that's how I was able to get a degree. Is I literally would just show up. I would sit in front of the class, and I would just do all my homework, and you would just always get like a C or a B if you got that, and then you were good to go. Like,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so showing like it makes sense, like because you're fully someone who I feel like just keeps getting better and better. Like you kind of see that with, and like you're someone who's definitely like grinding, whether that's because you really like the game or because you just want to stream. Which will lead me into this question. How do you feel about Mortal Kombat 1? I feel like there's a general conception these days that even by the community itself that it's kind of like a janky game or it's kind of random, but you're someone who streams it and plays in tournaments consistently. How do you feel about it?
I really love the game. I think there's definitely issues. I'm not the biggest fan of the current meta we're in, for example, but I mean overall, I think every fighting game has gimmicky stuff or Mickey stuff. It's just part of it. And I'd say MK just in general, like any of the MKs have always kind of been looked at like a little more like ostracized compared to other fighting games. They've always kind of been a little more gimmicky. At least they've been considered that by the FGC. Honestly, when you look back at the older MK games, like none of their gimmicks are like they're at the same level as the current MK1 gimmicks, in my opinion. Like MK11, you had crushing blows, and you had 30% mid tick command grabs, all that kind of stuff. Like this is just our version of the gimmicks, and it's not excessive, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. That throughout MK's like history, it's always been like you can take it serious, it can be played competitively, but it isn't like made for that aspect like a game like Street Fighter would be, for example, where it seems like the game is kind of made for the competitive scene. And that's fine because it does add a bit of like a fun factor, like I said, a bit of a goofiness factor that can generally make the game fun. Like I come from the Super Smash Bros. Community. That was my first like competitive game, and there's definitely some janky aspects, and it's not the most straightforward fighting game and stuff that if we were to just apply that same concept to a traditional fighting game, that people would hate. But it's just you kind of learn to live with it, and you enjoy it for what it is. And like I said, you can still take it competitively and play. So you've been on the record as saying that you don't plan on ever going to like offline tournaments for Mortal Kombat. but you are a very high level competitor and you compete a lot online. Is that just because you kind of you feel like you're just like a casual anyway and you kind of just compete because you want to, or is there any other reason particularly behind that?
I'd say there's multiple factors. I'd say for one, yeah, I think it's like I don't want to spend the money unless I feel like I have like a good chance of winning. And I think I don't know, this level I'm at, I'd see it might be harder for me to make like a top 8 if there's like a Kale, an Unjust, a Dialogue, let alone like a Sonic or a Ninja.
Yeah.
So like I'd want it if I want to spend that kind of money, I'd want it to be worth it. And then also another thing is I'm also my dad's caretaker, so it would take I'd be able to plan around making a big trip like that if possible, but it would just be a big ordeal and a big inconvenience. And if I felt like I had a good chance of making it, then I might be willing to do that. But combine that with those two things, then that's the main reason.
And that's that brings up a really good point of the fact that going to these tournaments is kind of picking up your life and just going somewhere for like a weekend. And at the end of the day, we're just playing a video game, so it's kind of like the priority in prioritizing it. Definitely, it makes sense, and so that's what can make it hard, because I feel like the game is kind of predominantly played online. Like, there are bigger offline tournaments, but there isn't really an emphasis on it. Like, not a lot of people. Like, I think the community will watch when those events happen, but there isn't a big emphasis on going, which is fair, because you said it's not necessarily worth it. To you, you said maybe if you could at least make the money back, or maybe make some money off it, then it would be, but. That makes a lot of sense. So,
sure, yeah. If there were more of like if I had like locals around, I'd probably go to those. But there's not really like a big MK1 local scene around me. It's mainly just like other fighting games like Grand Blue and whatnot.
Yeah, you played on the Ohio team, right, for like that turf war thing, if I'm mistaken.
Yeah,
you did. Okay, yeah, so you're from. Well, I wonder if, because I'm relatively close to there as well, and if there was to be a tournament that happens kind of in my area that would be big enough and we kind of make it worth it. And I feel like a tournament up here with someone that would go to it, you were definitely someone that could win. So maybe that would be the thing one of these days that could get you to an offline.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely consider it.
Yeah, because I know like people like I'm not sure how close you are to like Competitor and Burrito Voorhees, or I think they're out in that region as well. And they went to a tournament that was in like Erie, Pennsylvania, which is like about 2 hours from me. It was pretty big, and there's like a decent amount of money on the line. And like Sunio ended up winning, and you could beat Sunio. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
sure.
So that's definitely something that a tournament could win. So that's cool. That's cool. So you have earlier you shouted out being on Team Rez. How has that experience been? Do you want to speak on them, or what the work's about and stuff?
It's been good. I've been on Rez probably like I want to say like 7 to 8 months now, and they welcomed me with open arms from the beginning. So and they treated me great since then. So definitely extremely happy to be part of the team.
Also, I'll make sure to leave links to their social media and stuff in the description. For everyone out there to go follow. Definitely great org. I know like Dialogue's on the team as well. And you guys obviously main the same character. Dialogue probably the best one in the world. Maybe you could say like Video Games Yo, but Video Games Yo always plays other characters and stuff. So it's one of those two for sure. And then probably you right after that. How do you what made you gravitate towards playing General Shao? And how has having like that being on the same team as Dialogue helped you like with the character?
Well, I always loved Shao. Shao's always been one of the coolest characters in MK for me. So when I was looking at the roster for this game, like before it came out, I was browsing through the roster, and like the three that stood out to me the most were Reptile, Smoke, and Shao. and
Good taste.
yeah, definitely. When and then like I said, when I got the game, I was good, kind of just for like a super casual level, but I wasn't like good. So I tried those three out, and I kind of went with the one that just felt like the most natural to me at the time, and I'm like, okay, I'll get to the other two at some point later, and so I ended up making Reptile, and then I made Reptile for about 3 weeks, and then I'm like, okay, time to learn Smoke, and I fell in love with Smoke, and I played Smoke for like a month and a half, and I started learning Shao a little bit after that, like in December, actually more like November, and then by that point, I was thinking like, okay, Smoke's definitely the main, Shao's just gonna be secondary, but then at some point, I just started having so much more fun with Shao, and I noticed I was just way better with Shao. Like Shao fit my play style like the most. It was just the fact that the reason that I didn't like pick him up from the very beginning was just the fact that he's a stance character that felt kind of overwhelming for me at first. But once I picked all that up, I just realized like it was like hand in glove.
That's awesome.
And then with the dialogue, it's definitely good. I definitely learned a lot just from playing him and watching him. Definitely taking a lot of things from him, and then kind of like molding it and adapting it into my style as well. So definitely a huge help, him being on the same team.
Awesome, and it makes sense that why you're so good against me, because you made the character for the first 3 weeks of the game. That's why I needed to figure that out. No, I'm just kidding. But definitely a personal tournament demon for sure. So you have run your own tournaments. If I recall, you would do like it would be like King of the Hill style, or I'm not sure if that was just for a period of time. But do you want to run us through the events you ran, and are you planning on running any more in the future?
Yeah, so it started from a guy from my chat. He started following me from the early days. His name was Zero.
Zero,
he
yeah.
Zero. Yeah, he had Zero Taken, if you know him. Yeah, he gave me the idea as like a money match call, and it's like, oh, you got to get a certain amount of wins in a row, to win the pot, and it would be like it'd be crowdfunded. And so we started doing that, and that really started helping grow my channel. Like that really brought a lot of eyes, and it was kind of small pots at first. It was like $20 here, $10, $40, nothing big. And then at one point, my friend Tacos, he'd been on vacation at one point. Like when we started it, he'd been on vacation, and then he came back, and we explained to him what was going on. And he's like, "Oh, if you change the rule from like, I think the wins, it was like 5. I think it's like 5 in a row or 6 in a row." And he's like, "Oh, if you make it 10 in a row, then I'll add $500 to the pot."
Oh shit!
Yeah. and then he said, "Oh, if you because we had these things where we like ban characters for like certain amount of donations, and I think like Liu Kang was banned, which is his main. He's like, oh, if you unban Liu Kang, I add extra $100.
Oh, shit.
And then and then from then on, like he just started like being the main funding from for the money match cost at that point. So he encountered like some financial issues that I don't want to get into his business, but hopefully we would like to continue more of those. So we just need to get that sorted out first. But that's I might start up my own kind of like, but it'd be like a little more smaller scale, kind of like how it used to be, $50, $60. I wouldn't be able to put up the multiple hundred that Tacos did.
Yeah, I mean that's still a decent amount of money just for an MK if someone ends up winning that, So
yeah, started catching like the big eyes, started catching the unjust, the It was catching everyone except for like the very top, like the rewinds and the Sonics
and they don't plan a ton of things. It's kind of like here and there.
Yeah, exactly. We get wrecked in there, a whole bunch of them. That was a fun time. I think we had like a little more unique rule set too. I think that was one of the things that like drew people to it.
Definitely.
Because you could spend a certain amount of money to ban characters or to unban characters. It was the final format that we had settled on. It was you had to get 9 wins in a row, and then but like once you got to a 5 streak, you had to go random character or cameo for like the next 3 games. And most people would pick their character and just do random cameo, and then though that definitely added a level of excitement. And then for once you got to like the last game, it was possible for like a previous winner to come in and like steal your spot basically, and like take you off the throne, the gatekeep.
Interesting. So anyone could they could just come out of nowhere and be like Money in the Bank, like wrestling.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, but it had to have been like a previous winner though. That was the only rule. So it was definitely exciting. It definitely got like a lot of people interested.
Yeah, that definitely builds like storylines. Like, oh, this person's getting there. It's like like the options that could happen. It's kind of like spontaneous and kind of kept people engaged, which is really cool. It's really an interesting thing. Sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'd like to bring those back pretty soon. I think I will. I'll find a way.
Awesome. We'll make sure to follow Bwood so you can be on top of those and know when those are going to happen. Definitely cool events. I remember watching some of them, people talking to them about them. So you compete pretty frequently online. Do you have any like particular goals with competing, or do you just kind of do it for fun? You're just trying to win every night?
Yeah, I'd say I'm probably just taking it day by day. Just trying to get overall better at the game, and try to consistently win. But yeah, I'm just kind of like a tournament by tournament thing. I'm just trying to win.
Fair enough. So competing definitely is it could be a bit of a mental game as much as it is a kind of knowledge game or like labbing out the situations. How do you feel? Like you said, you were a fighter, correct? Do you think that has helped? Like the mentality of being a fighter has helped you with the mentality of competing in these tournaments?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I fought for 7 years. So, I stepped in the cage, 8 times. So, the nerves and all the stress that comes with competing, like I'm already used to that, and I'm used to that, on a much more dangerous like level.
Yeah, for sure.
So, doing that when there's not as grand of a stakes on the line, because at the end of the day it's just a game. It's definitely it's definitely a lot easier in comparison.
For sure. Because you don't have to. There's not much to worry about for sure. It's like if you lose, like what's gonna happen? Like you play with a friend or you queue Kombat League or something. You just get off and do something else. Like compared to getting physically injured and trying to beat the crap out of your opponent, basically.
Exactly.
It definitely gives you some perspective. Because I think there's, when it comes to competing, there's times where you want to win, you have that drive, but there's times where you really also just don't want to lose. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to lose there. And I think having the drive to win over the desire to not lose is you want to constantly have that be higher, if that makes sense. So I think
100%.
being involved in that and being involved, like I played sports when I was younger, like I feel like that kind of helped, like kind of like people say that you had that dog in you.
That's right.
People definitely strikes me as someone who has that dog in him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I was always known as in my fighting career as well. Like I wasn't like the strongest, I wasn't the fastest, I didn't hit the hardest, but I was showing up every day. Just keep on going, even like fighting wise, like I just never stopped coming, like just pushing forward, like no matter what.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. It really teaches you that work ethic and like discipline and like the mentality thing that we were talking about. So you You main General Shao. Is there any? Have you like considered playing any other characters maybe for particular matchups? I actually have seen you. You've entered some tournaments here and there with other characters, or do you have? Would you say you have a legit secondary or even tertiary? Are you planning on playing more characters?
So currently I play basically the whole roster. Besides, the only characters I don't know are Ghostface, Sector, and Cyrax. But like competitively, I only main Shao. I only really use Shao right now, unless with a few exceptions. Like before, I used to when I first started competing for bad matchups with Shao, I would like change characters. You know, I might pick like a Reiko or a Liu Kang or Johnny. But then at a certain point, I just realized like no character that I had, I was as comfortable with as I was with Shao. So I just decided that I was going to play Shao no matter what, even if it was the worst matchup ever, even if it was a 7-3, I was going to play Shao because I just stood the best chance. Because just the familiarity and just like the comfort feeling that I have when I play him is, you know, outweighs any matchup. So occasionally, like I might play if it's like a smaller tournament and I kind of just want to, you know, have a little fun. And I'm not necessarily like playing with the like 100% desire to win. Then I might play like, you know, one of my side characters. But like I wanted to main or co-main Noob and Ermac when they came out because Noob, Ermac, and Shao they're my three favorite Mortal Kombat characters just like throughout MK. So and Noob was actually my MK11 main and Ermac was my MKX main. So I already knew I was going to be excited for him, but just they just don't fit my playstyle like enough to where I could use them as serious competitive like characters. But I still use them a lot like in casuals or in ranked or something. But if it's like a serious tournament and like I'm trying to win, you know, everything on the line, like I'm always gonna pull out the Shao.
That makes sense. Ermac is actually one of probably like my tied for three favorite characters of all time, like canonically, is Reptile, Ermac, and Sector. Like I don't really like one more than the other. Reptile is kind of the first one that came out of them, and like kind of like what you said, like regardless of how bad the matchup or whatever, I'm gonna play Reptile because it's just the easiest. And you know, when you're separating your time between characters, it can be harder to level up because like you are getting better, but like each character is getting a little bit better. But like if you focus on one, then you're getting that character better. So in terms of improving, because until you get to a certain level, the matchup being good or bad doesn't matter a ton. If I'm being honest, it's just a matter of like how you play and how you play it and stuff. And even still at the top level, it might not matter as much as we like to make it believe. Like, you know, the tier list system and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it depends on the person, but I think you can definitely still win no matter the matchup if you're a character loyalist. You know, look at Dialogue, perfect example. He's playing Shao no matter what, and you know, he wins a lot and always had a lot of success. You know, regardless.
Yeah, no, he's definitely had a lot of success winning like Texas Showdown, CEO. The amount of times he's taken Sonic Fox to Game 5, you know, top 8 at Evo, like absolute monster. And General Shao, I mean, like maybe it's because I am also in the General Shao group chat, but it doesn't seem like a character that is believed to be like super top tier. Like maybe like top 10 would be like a stretch, but definitely a pretty good character. Where do you feel he falls on like a tier list style like ranking?
I'd say in this meta because of his synergy with Sector, who is undoubtedly the best cameo in the game right now. I'd say he's top 10.
Okay.
I think he's very strong, and Sector does cover a lot of his weaknesses. But he still has like a lot of like defined weaknesses and very easily exploitable weaknesses that just keep him a little bit outside of being the top 5 in my opinion. But of course I'm biased.
Yeah.
So, I think once Spectre gets nerfed, which I imagine he inevitably will. He'll probably go to like top 12, top 13.
So still pretty high in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, like he's still a really good character. Like he's got good buttons. He's got obviously really good mix, but he also has like I said, a lot of clear weaknesses as well. So I think he's in a lot of ways kind of the perfect design character because he's got really good strengths, but also really good weaknesses to balance it out. There's nothing like super overwhelming.
Yeah, because there is, especially towards like the top of the tier list, and maybe it's probably common for all games, but characters that I feel have a lot of really high reward, really low risk things they can do that kind of make it so it's like they can throw out like a ton of hitboxes, kind of like Sindel. And that, I think it's like forward one where she puts out the hair and stuff, and like armor breaks. You can hit confirm it at any point. Like it's a single hit confirmable button. It leads to mix up. Like it's just and like on whiff, it's like not a lot of cooldown. Not a lot of characters can reach to like punish it. So that's just an example.
Yeah, 100%. Kind of like a do all button.
Exactly. So who would you say is Shao's worst matchup? Or if you don't have a worst one, maybe a couple characters that you would say Shao struggles with? Kind of give us an idea of how, his strengths and weaknesses.
Right now, I'd say our worst matchup is probably Raiden, to be honest. Although I will say that's like a lot of NA Raidens, don't play the matchup, the way it necessarily should be. Like Kanamani actually played the matchup perfectly.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and he had the tool to keep Shao out with his down 4, and Shao doesn't really have a good answer for down 4. He can kind of just escape pressure whenever and just run away. Shao doesn't really have a good answer for it. When he fights me, it was 3-0 both times. We fought Dialogue, it was 7-0. And I actually talked to VGY about it. VGY doesn't even play Shao in that matchup anymore against him because it's just unplayable. So that matchup's definitely got to be our worst. But other than that, I think probably Scorpion and Melina are probably the other two worst matchups.
Melina's someone I see. I'm gonna say like struggle as much as Dialogue has struggled in competitive play. Melina is usually the character I feel like that's like gotten to him, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that matchup it's similar issues as the Raiden one, and just Shao has to take a lot of risks to call out a lot of her BS, and she doesn't really have to do the same. She can kind of just press in a lot of ways and kind of just do whatever, and doesn't have to take the same amount of risk to do so.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because Shao, just like the way he plays in this game, he definitely has like a lot of high commitment things. Like he has things that are like really big buttons that have good frame data on block and stuff, but it's really like a big commitment. And Melina, they can just snap to you for a full combo with like ball roll or teleport. So if you're gonna commit to like like the ground X like projectile thing, like they could probably in a lot of situations just react to it in full combo punish. Yeah,
they can actually do that every time, and you can actually react pretty late. You can do a pretty late react and still punish it. Also, a lot of her strings combined with her pokes, like put her in a position where the only buttons that I have that would reach in time would be stand 2, which is of course a high. So, but they can just mash, and it'll get low profile. So I have to respect a lot of their pokes and a lot of their mashing.
Interesting, very, very, very interesting stuff. So let's go to the opposite side of the spectrum. What are some matchups that you feel like Shao really, really does well in, or it's really hard for like other character to really do anything, if he has any of those types of matchups?
Yeah, I think we have quite a bit of winning matchups. I think probably our best matchup is probably Quan Chi.
That makes sense.
I think we really beat up on Quan Chi. I think also, we win against Omni-Man, Li Mei. I think those 3 are all winning. A take that I get, a decent amount of flack for is I think Shao beats Sindel.
I see you kind of cooking the Sindels. got them to be like, Shao is impossible for Sindel. Because there's a bunch of Sindel players, because she's so good. I feel like all of them complain about Shao, and I feel like it's because of you.
Yeah, the other Shaos kind of get on me for it. They don't like me saying that. I think they want me to downplay, but I think I think Shao counters like a lot of what Sindel wants to do. So I don't know, I think it's a 6-4 matchup in my opinion. Like the Sindel can win, but you kind of got to outplay in my opinion.
So, do you, when you do Shao's armor, do you just leap right over Lao Hat? Because I know you get out of the air, so like, is he able to kind of like just skip that like kind of mind game? Because that's something like, for example, Reptile. If I were to armor, it would just get arm broken.
Yeah, most like her usual setups, she can't do on Shao. She can't do any of the usual setups. So you have to do very specific setups that are designed to break Shao's armor. From what I understand, usually those are much tighter execution wise, and also they're not necessarily fully real. Like most ones that would break my armor, you'd have to jump and float over me so that my armor would whiff, or it can be broken. So but the counter to that is I can wake up backdash and then armor, and then the armor would catch you, and I get a full combo. So it's kind of RPS at that point, but all the options are in my favor, to be honest.
Yeah, because normally for most characters, like for me, I have to hold that, and then it's like pressure. It's like best case scenario, I'm eating Sindel pressure, and she has like a gapless plus string. She has like armor breaking like moves, so even if I want to like do that and try to like armor through a next button or something, try to call that out, it's like, you know, there's a lot of people have to hold that. So the fact that Shao can kind of not really have to deal with that definitely seems like a big advantage, because she's kind of like vulnerable, floating in the air there.
For sure, yeah, and like actually their mid, we can armor punish that every time unless they EX the float. If they do back to float, we armor punish that every time, and if they don't do an aerial attack, then they get full comboed from it, because armor is it doesn't hit the actual armor itself, then it leads to full combo.
Yeah. Which is pretty good. That's really good.
Yeah, really good.
Because the fact that because just having an armor launcher with your cameo is such a valuable thing. So the fact that he just gets it by himself is pretty good.
Yeah, 100%.
Instant frame.
Forward one, if you can if you can outplace the forward one, Shao is definitely a character that is really good at whip punishing the Sindel forward one as well. The stand too.
Oh yeah, stand two. Yeah, he has a lot of check tools. I feel like even like against like Ermac with his cancels, like you're just like stand two.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that matchup can be tricky for the Ermac player as well.
Yeah, because then it's like in his poke is like his down 3 and down 4 are both really good, but I think like you can just like armor through that in a lot of situations, because they're gonna press if they hate you. And I heard Dialogue talking about that. It's just like not that something you should do every time, but like a mind game you do have.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Yeah, the Ermac matchup, I think Ermac Janet, which is of course what most Ermacs are rocking. I think we win that slightly. I think best cameo for Ermac against Shao is actually Lao, but there's the only one really rocking that right now is Venus.
Yeah, it's I've seen that team. It's very interesting. You have to sacrifice because like you just get so much with Janet. Like you get like 60% BNBs, you get armored launcher, you get grab combos. Like the fact that you have the strike throw, because like Ermac has the cancels, but like it's not like real like mix-ups. So like to get the opening, if someone's just holding block, the fact that they have that grab as an option really opens up another layer, which is because I love Ermac, like I said, like it's one of my 3 favorite characters, but I don't really like playing Janet. There's just something about her when she was announced and she kind of had the Sento stuff, and I was like, I hate Kenshi so much that I can't even play a character that has a similar concept to that. So I've been trying to find another character. I've stumbled on Frost. I think that's a really good team. I'm trying to get out there more. Maybe I'll compete with the team more. Really good stuff. Definitely not as good as Janet or probably even Lao, but up there probably in the top 5 range. But I'll have to prove that. But we're talking about you and we're talking about Shao, not Ermac. How do you feel like the meta is right now compared to the beginning, where it was kind of like, people said like the chip meta? How do you feel it is now?
I think we're in a good spot. I think it's better than it was during the chip meta for sure. Um, I I don't like the fact that it's that they're giving every character almost, it feels like so much mix.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like it's almost becoming like MKX like,
Mm-hmm.
and like every character is getting 3-way mix, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. I think the meta was kind of the perfect spot, like right around when Peacemaker got nerfed. That was kind of like my favorite meta right there. Like after Peacemaker, but before Homelander was super prevalent.
Mm.
So there's not too much I would change right now besides like nerfing. They're probably nerfing Havoc and nerfing Sector Cameo.
I was gonna say Havoc for sure.
Yeah, those are the two main things. You could adjust a few other characters, but right now those characters are the two, or that character and that cameo are the two that are kind of like super oppressive right now, and you kind of just need a touch.
Yeah, they definitely overtuned Havoc because they're like, let's give him a low that gives him unreactable mix-ups, that launches, that has armor, that leads to a safe jump if you end the combo with it. And it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
and that's one move, and you're gonna give him more stuff, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna give him more stuff. So in a game, obviously, there's always gonna be a top one character. And I feel like we're kind of, I mean, I feel like that's probably any fighting game. It's like when there's a character that's top one, it kind of gets complained about, and then, NRS picks up on it, and then it gets toned down a bit. Some of these characters have been kind of almost killed. I mean, like, you don't really see Tanya anymore. Do you think we get to a point where we should just, if we had control like that, just have a character that is top one and we just kind of leave it there? And what character would you think would be like the best top one character? There's obviously have to be a character that's probably in the top 10 range right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I think that had to be a perfect world just because NRS always tends to overtune or undertune things.
Yep.
Or they seem to have a hard time with like finding good balance. It's either super nerf or super buff.
Mm. Or it's
I
useless nerf, like completely.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
To be honest, if you were to take away the Gento combo from Ermac, or like the Gento damage, and make that like normalized, I think Ermac would be like the perfect top tier. I think he's super well designed, not only like fun wise but also competitive wise. Right now, it's really like the only thing that's like keeping him like broke and like overwhelming is the 60% combo.
Yeah.
If you make that's like 45 or something more reasonable, then I think he'd be a perfect top one.
I would have to agree because he's very technical, so it's like you're not just gonna pick him up and immediately be able to play him. And he has a lot of layers, but it's not like completely overwhelming, like you said. But it's just like you have this crazy like strike throw game, and if you get hit once, you beat 60. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's a bit egregious. So would you say Ermac is to you better than a character like Kenji, or would you say Kenji's better?
Right now, I think Kenji is a bit better. I think Kenji could definitely use nerfs as well.
Could hope. Pray, but...
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know that character's received no major like touches since launch somehow. I don't know how he's escaped it.
Yeah, I don't know how either.
All I got was the small chip damage nerf, which was nothing.
Yeah, right. Or like Sento could like take damage, but it was like a scaled amount. Because Sento used to not take damage, and now it takes like a very minimal amount. It was like, oh my god, egregious nerf, killed the character.
And he still has iframes too a lot when he like kind of wakes up.
Yeah, and like he can still do the grab thing, right? Can he still do that? Am I crazy?
Yeah, you can still do that. And when he wakes up, like if you do it on the same frame, if you hit him on the same frame he's standing up, like you'll actually get punished by Sento.
I've had that happen before. It made me angry.
Yeah, that's super annoying. It's like, okay, you're punished for timing the hit on him correctly.
Leads
You have to
you
actually
dying.
delay it.
Yeah. And and he hits like a truck. Like you eat like 50. If they have fatal blow, like there's been times where I have like 45% health and they have like chip them out, and like that happens, and then you eat like 50% the fatal blow combo and you lose.
Yeah, if he has 1%, it's like he still easily has a chance.
Yeah,
You could
yeah,
have
yeah. If he has
an-
1% and gets Sento out, and you have your full life bar, like that's an even game. Like you argue with the wall, man. I'm not. It's an even game.
Like I'd be okay with it if it was like one option was like significantly more negative. Like you made the overhead like it's actually your turn afterward, or like you can easily jump out of it or something like that. But it's like 15 seconds of just straight jailed 50-50s. And there's like nothing you can do unless they make a mistake. They have to make a mistake for
Yeah.
you to be relieved from it.
Yeah, I remember. I actually saw a clip. You were playing Mari. I think it was in Coliseum. And I watched like how many times you had to guess on a 50-50, and I literally calculated the odds of being able to accurately do that, and it was like 3%. It was like something like that. It was like you had a 3% chance of getting out of that situation, and then just resummon if you get hit.
Yeah, and
Then
then
repeat.
that the worst part about that is that's just the Sento sandwich.
Yeah.
Like he was using Movado too, so I'm guessing on the strike throw when he's in balance stance too.
Yeah,
And
it's fucked up.
you know, I'm someone like that doesn't get shimmied very often, but I get shimmied all the time against Kenshi Movado because I'm so afraid of the grab that I'm like tagging prematurely and then I get sentoed anyways.
Yeah, which is just insane. But I guess that's just the world we live in. You said it hasn't been touched yet, so I don't know if they're going to all of a sudden.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, and it seems like every cameo he gets like a new, like really broken thing. Like with like Frost gets buffed and it's like useless for like 90% of the cast, but now he gets sent on block. Like
yeah, exactly.
like something that no other character really benefited from.
Yeah, just Kenshi, golden boy.
Yeah, honestly, for real, must be. So I definitely had you for a little bit here. So I'll definitely start wrapping it up. Is there anything that you thought maybe I would ask you, or anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to, and then we could discuss real quick?
No, I think we covered everything that I was wanting to talk about.
Well, awesome, man, awesome. It was a pleasure having you. Definitely a great guest. Made it easy on me, and interesting stories and stuff like that. So, greatly appreciate you taking the time. Definitely make sure to follow Dialogue. I'll leave links to his social media, Twitch, YouTube, if he has that, Twitter, whatever. He's got Rez as well. Shout out to Rez. They're actually the one that recommended, like, get Bwood Dialogue. And I was like, if one of the ones who, and you're like, I will. And I'm like, perfect. It's always easy when someone asks me to do it. It's like, all right, I don't have to reach out, get rejected. They're just like, yeah.
No one likes that.
Yeah, exactly. It just sets itself up, and then I just got to show up and try not to try to have enough questions and try not to talk too much, so you get your time. But thank you so much, man.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. You made it easy for me. It's awesome to be here, man. I'm a big fan of yours.
Thank you.
We put on great events, man, and I've been signing up since early on in my competitive career. So definitely thank you for your responsibility for getting me this far as well.
Awesome, man. I'm definitely happy to do it. That's definitely what I want to do, is make competing in MK more rewarding for the people that do it, because there's definitely times where it doesn't feel like that. And the fact that we have events and there's ways to essentially gain prestige, like you have getting, I said I ranked you in the top 100 solely off online events, is so cool that the community kind of came together and was able to, or have been able to put on all these events.
Yeah, 100%, man. This is an amazing community. I love it no matter what.
Facts, man. Facts. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man, and we'll see you guys at the next video.